Yeah, let's bring in Governor Mike Huckabee, who surely has something to say about this. You know, it's interesting. You even think about someone like Jeff Sessions, our new Attorney General. He was let go back in 1993 by then-President Bill Clinton. This is certainly something that has happened before, Governor.
Well, as it happens every time there's a new administration. Doesn't matter if it's the president or a governor of a state. You know that, Abby, from your own dad.
Right.
Look, nobody holds over all the old political appointees because they probably are going to sabotage their operation. It is the will of the president to make this decision. All of these people, they knew darn well when they took the job that they were political appointees and they served at the pleasure of the president. Quite frankly, Donald Trump kept them a lot longer than Obama did, Bush did, Clinton did. What is everybody upset about? This is what happens every 4 years or every time there's a change in administration. So cry me a river. I've watched this news coverage, and these anchors are going crazy like, oh, my gosh, it's a slaughterhouse out there. No, it is the orderly transition of power.
To that point, A, why do they always freak out? And B, do they need to go deeper? I mean, the amount of resistance, the leaks, are there other places where the Trump administration should go deeper and say, hey, you also serve at the pleasure of the president, your priorities are wrong, and we need you to move on?
I think they need to get the biggest Dyson vacuum cleaner that has ever been made and go through every federal agency and suck out all the people that they can who are not going to be loyal to this president. Now, there's going to be a problem because a lot of the people are civil service protected. You have no idea how hard it is to fire a federal or a state employee, for that matter. It's one of the reasons that things don't change, because the bureaucrats have the attitude, we were here when you came, we'll be here when you left, good luck getting rid of us. But we've got to make some changes. Drain the swamp has to be more than a slogan. It has to be a mission.
Governor, I want to get at the flux capacitor for a moment and get in the DeLorean and travel back in time with you to 2010. I want to show you a soundbite from Nancy Pelosi back in 2010. Take a look.
We have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
That was, of course, talking about the health care legislation, Obamacare at the time. Well, now, Nancy Pelosi, in the new Republican version of health care, has said this about it. The American people and members have a right to know the full impact of this legislation before any vote in committee or by the whole House, meaning, Governor, we need to read the legislation before we take action on it. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. This is the brand new Nancy. My gosh, who knew she could make such a major change in her life at this stage of her life? Well, good for her. I'm glad now that she thinks that it's probably a good idea to read a bill, because she didn't read the 2,000-page Obamacare bill when she passed it, and I thought that statement back then was as nutty as saying, I'll know what I had for lunch when I pass my lunch later on in the day. Good heavens, Nancy. I mean, that was one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my life. But look, yeah, read the bill. That's great. I think everybody should. But for her to say it, it's laughable.
It is rich. And this bill is not 2,000 pages. It's closer to a couple of hundred more readable. What's your take, just briefly, on the current state of the Republican sort of disagreement about the status of the Obamacare bill?
Well, they need to listen to some of the critics as to why they're upset about it. And I think it can be fixed. I think there's things that can be incorporated. But the fact is, they promised to repeal. They're going to have to deliver a true repeal. They promised to replace, and it needs to be a replacement, not just a revision or a little bit of reform and then a little bit of rewording. A tap of the hammer and a turn of the screwdriver doesn't work. They're going to have to make major changes in it, most notably in the fact that you cannot continue to force insurance companies to pay unlimited amounts of money over the course of a lifetime. And I know this is popular, but the idea that you're going to cover all pre-existing conditions is going to make the plan unaffordable. Now, let me explain why. It'd be like saying I'm going to buy car insurance the day after my car gets totaled. I'm going to buy home insurance after my house burns to the ground. The purpose of insurance is to protect against what might happen, not what already has happened. And if you don't look at it that way, there's not an insurance company in the world, including the federal government, who can afford to take care of it.
Yeah, some great points there, Governor. Always good to have you with us.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Have a great Saturday.
Thanks, Governor.